Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger and my friends. There has been a significant patch that has just dropped for Mortal Kombat 11. So I'll have the full patch notes in the video description if you want to check every minor little detail. A lot of it is bug fixes. Hey, we added new brutalities. Hey, there's new Nether Forge recipes and all that kind of stuff, right? On top of some small bug fixes. But we do have some significant changes here. One, there is significant character balance changes. It's been a while since we had one of those in a patch. And also, we got some new fun actions in training mode to look at. So hey, let's go have a look at it. So now in training mode, we got a couple more tools to play with. So first up here, if we go into AI options here and we go into our block attacks, so now we have fast or delay timings for the various block attacks. So your up twos, your up threes. So you didn't always have to do them on frame one. It was rare to do something on frame one usually. So basically this is fastest possible timing, and this is doing it a couple frames later if say you do flawless block and then go into your up two or up three. So it is nice to play around with that kind of stuff because there is multiple outcomes that can happen, and now you can test around with it. For AI options and going into recording, we now have a new option here. So we have the same four setups we always had before, but there is also now one here for custom get-ups and reversals. And leading directly from that, so as you have your reversal mode set to on, you can now use that custom reversal or get-up from there, right? So it just gives you a lot more opportunities to work with than the usual stock stuff here, the stock moves here, because you can have your own custom setups. You can just test out and work with a lot more scenarios than you could before. For get-up mode, once again, because it is custom get-up and reversal, so you can use the custom get-up you have set as well. And now, before we get to the character-specific stuff, there is a couple other things to note here. So all wake-up / flawless block up threes can no longer hit opponents from behind, except for Kung Lao, Sonya, and Geras, because I guess that's intentional, plus the animations seem to match. Also here it states here, increase the button input buffer when exiting a block hit reaction from 2 to 5 frames. So the way I'm reading it is you just have a better hit buffer to work with here, or rather an input buffer. So you can input your button just a little bit earlier after your block hit and get it. I'm assuming that is to help with like flawless block stuff. So now moving on to the character specific stuff. I'm not going to mention every change, it's just like little bug fixes and all that. Let's talk about the big ones here. And let's start with Geras, because Geras can't catch a break now it seems. The last big patch finally hit him with some nerfs that he finally actually felt, versus the millions of nerfs he ate before that didn't really matter. And he's still got a little bit more nerfs yet here. So specifically here, his forward dash and his back dash have been curtailed just a little bit here. The overall distance they travel for both forward and backwards is just a little bit less than it was. And sand traps on whiff now have more recovery than they did before. So if it's blocked, it's the same. But if you do not connect in whatever shape or form, it now has 4 more frames of recovery. So he's just stuck in place before he can block just a little bit longer than it was before, as you can see here. There's some significant lag time. That 4 frames doesn't seem like a lot on paper, but it adds up. So Geras still does Geras stuff, to be sure, right? But every patch just brings him down just a little bit more, and he's finally coming down to the realm of the mortals. Jacqui Briggs. So Jacqui Briggs was definitely one of the big winners when the third variations came around, thanks to the bionic jump variation. And hey, it got hit with the hammer just a little bit. So the bionic jump, bionic balance here, if you do the regular version, hey, it's the same as it was. That's fine, right? But the far versions and the kind of held versions, the close versions, now both take a defensive bar to do, as you can see here. So regular version unaffected, but if you want the fancy stuff, the close version especially, being with all the pressure and all that kind of stuff, now takes 1 defensive bar. Now it doesn't curtail the effectiveness of it as it stands, but still, hey, it's kind of ridiculous, right? So it's being curtailed just a bit. And now specifically here, the recovery frames of all the air moves for this variation, this is shrapnel matters, but also the grenade launcher, prototype rocket, all the variations that don't really get used in competitive variations. It says here, can no longer be circumvented when being 2-in-1 canceled from a jump attack with specific timing. So the way it reads, if you're a big fan of, like a lot of the shotgun jump pressure, all that kind of stuff, seems like it's being brought in line just a little bit. That said, Jacqui's still pretty strong overall, but yeah, this one, definitely a nerf to say the least. For Jade, first up here, the wiggle stick. This guy here says here can now be 2-on-1 cancelled if the first or second attack hits the opponent but the last attack misses. This move kind of infamous for varying parts of the moves hitting and other parts whiffing, but now basically it's just a little more consistent, so you can always get a special cancel if you know for a fact it's going to hit. Also for the blazing nitro kick here, the crushing blow requirement, which is normally just hit 2 in a row, it says here it will no longer reset if it's missed. So you can do this with a nitro kick and then still get it after the fact. Now, if you do any other move that connects, like, even down 1, then, you reset your progress. So you have to have 2 in a row, but at the very least, you whiffing the move won't count towards it, so it'll still work. Not major changes. Jade probably could use a little bit more, maybe, I don't know, but hey, it's something at least. For Jax, first up here, Gurney, that is forward and 4. So it says here, no longer has different hit advantage when hitting standing and ducking opponents. So before, depending if they were standing or ducking, the move actually had different numbers. So now it's just universal across the board. And also ripped. That's this guy here, the big old overhead ripped amplified specifically here, this guy here. So it says here, now recovers 4 frames faster on hit and 6 frames faster on whiff. Not that fast still. This is me holding block right away. As you see, it's still not that quick, right? Also is now -8 on block from -4. That's definitely a little bit of a nerf. Now, it's -8 from this far away. It's still basically safe, but still. So yeah, not a lot of changes for Jax. So Johnny only got changes to 1 move and 1 variation. That's outtake, the old classic outtake variation, right? Everyone's most hated Johnny variation. But as it stands here, so the Rising Star Uppercut, if it is now whiffed or blocked when you amp it, it now takes a defensive bar on top of an offensive bar. So no more just guaranteed making everything safe, because it is safe on block and has a significant amount of pushback, as you can see here too. So if it's blocked or if you whiff, you also pay a defensive bar. Now, if the move is hit, you don't got to pay any extra price, right? It's just specifically to stop abusing it on block to make everything safe. Now, speaking of block, if it is flawless blocked, you can't even enhance it at all. So you just kind of gotta eat crap. You're definitely getting punished if it gets flawless blocked, because there's no way to make it safe anymore. So it is one change across, the wide variety of stuff Johnny has to work with, right? But it's pretty big. So if you want to make everything super safe, you're going to have to commit more than just your offense bar. You're also going to put a defensive bar into it. And if this gets called some way, somehow on a flawless, you are done, period. You're going straight to dinner because they're going to eat you up. So one change to Johnny, yeah, but it's a pretty big one. For Kotal Kahn, here's the big one. I'm very happy about this one. Stand 4. They remember it existed. So it now starts up a frame faster, which is kind of whatever, honestly, right? But now it can be 2-in-1 canceled, so you can actually special cancel it. So if I was in the corner, hey, that actually is a combo now, right? Say they're inclined to block or whatever, you can special cancel in the disc, stuff like that. Like, that's pretty crazy. It actually does something now. Now, the extent of its usefulness will be determined over time, I suppose. But yeah, it does stuff now. Stand 4 is actually a move. That's fantastic. Now, speaking of some other stuff. The disc, as we talked about a second ago here, disc now has 5 more frames of block stun and has a bit more pushback when regular blocked. So if it's flawless block, the old numbers still apply. But on regular block, 5 more frames of block stun, like as you can see here from like this distance here, that's 0s. Like, you're not negative like you used to be, right? Plus, even if you're obviously the further out, you're gonna be more plus, right? But even if I was like just a little bit closer, say, hey, I did that new 2-in-1 cancel, right? Hey, there we go, only -1. That's kind of whatever. But yeah, so hey, the move just gets a little bit better. For Kitana, first up here, Jump 2 has 1 more frame of hit stop. I assume just to make combos just a little bit easier as they currently stand. The Fan Toss Amplify. So you can now very slightly delay it versus having to do it immediately. So it states specifically here, Fan Toss Amplify can now be delayed by up to 7 more frames. So you can just slightly delay the second hit. Now, you can't delay it a lot. Like, if you try to do it too much here, you're just going to miss your window and, like, nothing comes out, right? But yeah, you can just ever so slightly delay the EX here versus just doing it right away, and I guess create just a little bit more mind game and a little bit more zoning from there. For the Fan Lift and Fan-nado, it states specifically here, reduce the Comage Dambo scaling, meaning you can do more damage in a combo with them. So you can just get more damage off basic Kitana combos, and its reaction no longer allows the opponent to break away. So they're getting hit by the actual move itself. So overall, it just makes the usual stuff better, and you're going to get more damage for it. So hey, why not, right? So Royal Protection, that is the parry here. So first up here, it states here, the buff no longer gets removed after using certain attacks. And it now also causes a stacking buff. And the stacking buff will be up to 50%. As you can see here, that uppercut did a lot of damage, right? And it states specifically, the Royal Protection buff now grants a stacking damage buff up to 50% for each successful projectile parry that lasts 10 seconds, and the timer is reset with each successful parry. So say if it was just about to run dry, if you manage to get another one, it'll take the buff timer back to full right away. So you are heavily incentivized to use this move now, when before it was kind of, you know, nothing amazing, right? But now that the timer resets and the buffs stack, if you judiciously use this, like, you can get in, you're going to do some stupid damage, to say the least. Edenian Twist, that's this guy right here. This is for Variation 3. Now has a new alternate Crushing Blow requirement. It says here, triggers if it counters or punishes a low or ducking attack. So if you manage to get people just, you know, spamming their down ones or whatever, that will now also trigger the Crushing Blow. For Shao Kahn. So this is a change in the variation that has the taunts in it, and it is the Wrath Hammer move. So the Wrath Hammer Crushing Blow requirement is changed up, and is now basically, hey, if it hits twice. It is a mid-hitting projectile, so if you do a combo that, say, ended with this, then the next one will be immediately loaded up, and you just gotta toss it, and then you get it. Certainly not everything he needs. I do think there will be another significant, like a Season 2 patch coming in the future, and hopefully have some major change-ups there. But, hey, come on, 434 special cancelable. Let's go. I've been asking for this for almost a year. Who can argue against it, right? Let's do it already. Just do it already. Just do it already. Come on. But yeah, so, new Crushing Blow for Shao Kahn, that's it. For Skarlet, a single change, but a welcome one. So back to her overhead here. Now it does 20 more damage, so it does 90 instead of 70. This move also, if it hits twice in a row, does a Crushing Blow. So just more damage on a move that needed a little bit of help. I'm fine with it. So a solid 9% now for getting clocked in the noggin. From something that has some vicious range, in case you're not aware. It can hit from pretty far away, right? So only a single change. She could probably use a bit more in the future, I guess. But how it works, I'll take it. And for Joker in the third variation, the boxing gloves, the Crushing Blow is now +5 on hit, because before you're actually -25 on hit. Now -25 from full screen didn't really mean too much, but still, you know, you should have frame advantage in some form if you get a hit, especially Crushing Blow. And hey, now you do. So kind of just working as intended. And hey, there you have it. So once again, if you want to see the entire patch notes in full, please check the video description. There'll be the link. Because like a lot of the little bug fixes and like making stuff more in line with other stuff, I didn't cover that because it's not really a big deal. Now, once again, I see this like every patch note video, I feel. A lot of the characters didn't get what they need. Still, it is what it is, I guess. But that said, Spawn will be out soon. And after that, spoiler alert, there'll be a Season 2 of Mortal Kombat 11. And with that Season 2, whatever it's going to be, whenever it's going to be, expect some significant changes then, to say the least, right? I don't have a timetable for you. I don't know. Just be assured it's going to happen. And until then, my friends, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Mortal Kombat.